You know what's easy? Organizing a sock drawer, organizing your sweaters. It's easy in comparison to what do I do with the stuff that grandma gave me? Grandma's no longer here, and I don't really need it. It's in the way, it's actually kind of creating clutter in my life, but it's grandma. I can't give it away. That's when it gets hard. I'm Margaret. I'm a virtual organizer, and I have been helping people all over the US for over 20 years figure out what to do with their sock drawer, but also what to do with the really, really hard stuff. So I'm just going to talk for a very short amount of time because this is a really very personalized situation. But what I want to encourage you to do is reframe the situation. Let me tell you what I mean by that by giving some examples. And then I'm going to ask you to do something for me and for other people. So stay tuned to the very end. You'll find out what it is. So, situation that I have seen multiple times and helped people through, and it is a different answer every time. I don't want to say that this do A and B and you'll get C every time. No, you're unique. But here's what I found in general. I'm going to use the example of grandma has passed. Somebody's got grandma's stuff, and they loved grandma, and they know that they have aprons. Let's use that as an example that aren't in very good shape. They're not really very usable anymore. And yet, how do I throw away an apron from grandma? She'd love to cook, and this just reminder of me of her. What do I do? Reframe it. Think about it this way. Grandma is not the aprons. Grandma wore the aprons. They were an important part of her life, but grandma is so much more to you. She was the snuggles and the feels and the holds. And it's okay for an apron to represent that, but not all the aprons. Pick the best of the best, and maybe you keep that as an apron that you can actually wear, or you keep it in your drawer with aprons, because that's where you're going to see it. You don't have to have all the aprons. But here's another idea that might even work better for you. Take that apron and maybe cut off the most interesting part of it. The pocket is actually oftentimes a good example, and frame it. Put it up in your kitchen so you can see it. Trust me, you will think more about grandma and what she meant to you than by having 8 kind of stained, unused aprons stuffed in your drawer. Another thing is, clothing. We can get such a sentimental attachment to clothing, and it's really challenging to throw away that suit that I wore to my first interview, or that the dress that I had the first date with my husband on. Those kind of things. Reframe it. Those are not your memories. That suit is not the job. It's not your career. It's not your life. So take a picture of it. And when it comes to taking pictures of things, you've probably heard that suggested before, but I would go a step further. I would do one of 2 things for those things that are really kind of important to you. One, super simple, create a gallery in your phone that is your memory gallery. Because I don't know if you're like me, if you just take pictures of things, you're not going to find that random suit picture later. It's going to be all mixed up with the pictures of the grandkids. But create a gallery for memories so that every once in a while you go to that and you look and you see that suit, and now you're going to remember it. Honestly, the reframing comes in that I'm really seeing pictures of that suit as opposed to it's stuffed in my closet and I never actually look at it because it's so jammed in. Let me give you one more. So many pots and pans. You needed them when the kids were home, you used them all, but now you just don't need as much. But it's hard to give those up because that's what represented feeding family, loving family. It's all wrapped up in that. Reframe it. You were so blessed by those. Your family was blessed by them. But now you can bless somebody else. So instead of thinking about what it means to you, think about what you can mean and help these things mean to somebody else. Reframing. Okay, I've talked long enough. I promised you that I was going to say something at the end to have you help me help other people. I would love to know something that you struggled with letting go of, but because you reframed it and rethought this particular thing, you were able to finally let it go, and how that blessed you, how it blessed others. If you know the end of the story, just share your experience so that I can share it with others and help people reframe the things that are holding them in bondage.